And now it's time for every one of you to ask questions to our speakers and panelists today. So may I now invite Ben, our moderator of today, and also invite our speakers, Ryan, Stephen, Michelle, Raymond.
So we have a panel lineup now. First is Ryan from Perita, and this is Michelle from Buffer. Have anyone heard of Buffer? Yes. Yeah, good. And she also organized a event called First Code Academy, right? Yeah. And we have Stephen and Raymond from CMR Holding Limited. Okay. What about let's start with Michelle and Raymond. Like you, can you tell us a little bit about what your staff do, or what's your background and like something like that?
Hi everyone. Really happy that some of you have heard about Buffer. So for those of you who haven't, Buffer is a social media management tool, and basically, if you have Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and you want to manage them in a dashboard, I think you'll find it quite useful. And so the way it works is that you connect your accounts onto Buffer, and you can schedule your updates in one go. And we will push out the updates for you throughout the week and save you time. And the other aspect of it is giving you some analytics and show you. So the other aspect of Buffer is that after your updates are sent to your Facebook page or your Twitter account, you can get feedback and see how many people have engaged with your link and clicked on it, and how many people responded to it, etc. So my role at Buffer is called Growth, and so it's a pretty vague role, and a lot of my time is spent on thinking and working with the developer team to grow the user base. And so I code most of the time, and I think about marketing in a technical standpoint. My background, I'm born and raised in Hong Kong. I worked in finance before and learned how to code, and so long story short.
Okay, so Raymond, tell us a little bit about what CMR Limited actually is doing.
Okay, great. So give me 2 minutes. Okay, so CMR is a company doing a lot of customized software development, including some enterprise app for some very reputable organization in Hong Kong. I think most of you might have used our system before, like mobile boarding pass, the one that installed in the Hong Kong airport. So this is my first startup. I have set up some stuff before, but this is the third one. The previous two was sold. So maybe we can share this one then later on. Okay?
Okay, cool. So we have both people who is from enterprise side. We have startup targeting local market, and we have startup in a global scale. It's exciting. I have a question for Ryan. I have been always thinking about it. Since your service is to help people who passed away to organize their online services. So have any one of your customer actually have used your service? That means they actually passed away and need your help.
None of our users has died yet, but I have died many times just to test the system.
So that means actually like your system have never been in a production size of once, right? So actually like then what's your biggest value proposition, or what's your biggest challenge to sell this service to the client in Hong Kong? Because I mean Hong Kong is some local Chinese culture, and some people don't want to talk about like death is a subscription service. Does that mean I'm going to die soon? What do you think? Like, can you tell us something about it?
Well, anyone in the world can sign up for our service, so we're not limiting it to Hong Kong. And actually, our paying users are from different parts of the world, including Switzerland, Austria, Japan. And I think the hardest part is to convince people that they will die someday. Although they know it, but they don't admit it. So I guess the biggest challenge is to find the right group of people who really see the value in the product. So for people who really pay for our service, they are people who don't need any persuasion. They're like, I need this, I love it. But for people who don't get it, they just say, no, it's rubbish. So, so we are trying to find the right type of people who will be more interested. For example, people who, how many of you have went on backpacking before? So, you know, if you go alone and you might want to be prepared. So even if it's just for, let's say you go for a year of traveling, you can subscribe to our yearly service. So after a year, you're still alive and kicking. You can always spread the word to people who would go traveling. Other people who love it. So yeah. So also we are looking at helping lawyers and also insurance agents, financial advisors. They're very interested because a product like ours will attract younger clients. And yeah.
So I want to talk about growth strategy, because I mean, like, startup by definition is about growth and traction, and we have people on the global consumer side, local consumer side, and enterprise. Can you all share a little bit about what is your growth strategy? What is your most effective way to grow your business? I think maybe start with Stephen. Do you want to share this?
For the growth, since July, every single month we experience over 130% growth month to month. And last week, actually, every single week it increased by 30%. So it has been exponential to us, and apparently we don't have enough manpower to take care of all the transactions. But in terms of how we did that is, actually, for startup, make sure your product work at any time. Do a lot of testing and tell your users if they ever have any problems, talk to you. And all the information you receive from the user is the most accurate information. You don't need to test yourself, save you a lot of time, and you know what they want at the same time. So for us, we did not do a mass marketing in the past, or about all of the marketing is from the press. But before we have press coverage, all our customers, we do some customer satisfaction survey. We call them back. Well, what's your experience? Well, anything that you want us to improve? If we have something, oh, that's a great idea, we write it down on our schedule, on our agenda. We make it the other day. We don't wait. Make sure the feature they request can go out as soon as possible to solve their problems. Then they're very happy to tell their friends. That's our strategy.
Cool. So what about Michelle? Like, you're a growth hacker and buffer. How do you grow buffer?
Yeah, that's something I think about every day. And I think it's a three-pronged strategy. So when we first started, one thing that our founder really abide by as a rule is really having a strong support team. So, well, basically it was the two founder in the beginning, and we have a motto that support is our marketing department. And the reason why is that so many people use Buffer day-to-day basis to save them time and grow their audience. And the least we can do is to make sure that we answer their question as soon as possible, which is, I really agree with what Stephen said, listen to the users. And till this day, like all of our team members, 16 of us, answer emails at least for 30 minutes a day. And it's not only the support staff, but also engineers and the founders as well. So it's really ingrained in our company culture, and everyone has to do it and loves doing it because really gets us think about our users in their shoes. And secondly is the content marketing, and we have a pretty popular blog and put out content regularly. And And thirdly is about the metrics that we look at. And a lot of times looking at how many people drop off in the funnel, and we can talk a bit more about it later on as well. And a lot of data driven, which is enabled by the amount of users that we have, and really learning from the data and optimizing the product.
I see, that's interesting. Like everyone in the team is customer service. So Raymond, you're in the B2B business. I believe that is a little bit different, right? Can you share some with us?
Okay, so growth. Okay, this is a very, very interesting topic. And in our point of view, as my mentor said, we grow based on some based on some objective. Why do we need to grow? So it's not really the surface, because when we deliver the service, we have to increase the number of people to support the service when we grow. Okay, so the problem is, if we grow, we will have lower profitability. So that is a key problem. When we have lower profitability, that means the company is not so productive in some way. So we think growth is important, but how do we grow? So in our strategy is we keep on tracking the profitability as well as the productivity, so that we can grow together with our revenue. Something like, if we can grow something like 50% of the revenue, we need to have 60% or 70% more people doing the same thing. So if we can grow 50%, but we need 100% people, we do.
Okay, so Michelle, you just talked about metrics. So can you tell us a little bit about like what kind of metrics you track when you do the work, or like do you have any advice on like in what stage, what kind of metrics would be most important to the startup, in your opinion?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we looked at it in the framework that Dave McClure at 500 Startups use. So the AARRR. So it's activation, acquisition, activation, retention, revenue, and referral. So referral is a little bit tricky for us and kind of the bottom of the funnel. So at our stage, we're looking at a lot of retention status. Just to maybe take a step back to describe what these terms are. So acquisition means how many people are we signing up every day, and these people can come from our blog, can come from other news reports, or just words of mouth. And then the next step is that how many people do we activate? So activate means that out of the people that sign up to our service, how many of them actually experience our product at least once? So for Buffer, how we measure activation is the people that have sent one update through Buffer. So that is the success goal that we are tracking. And after that, retention is really meaning like how many people return in 7 days, how many people return in 28 days. And we track that on a daily basis to make sure that people actually find value from our service. And lastly is the revenue side, where after they use it for a while, do they find it valuable enough to pay for us? And the minimum price point we're charging is $10 US per month. And right now we have 2% of our users paying for us. And that sounds really low, but it actually pays for 16 people. And our whole company is surviving on these 2% of users. And so I think in terms of what metrics to look at for startups, I think it's really depending on whether the product has hit product market fit. So before product market fit, it really doesn't make sense to look at the metrics because what you want to do is to really get to product market fit. So like Steven's product is really awesome, that explosive growth and really hitting that pain point. And with Buffer as well, we sent out a survey to our users. And what we asked them is that if Buffer doesn't exist tomorrow, how disappointed will you be? And according to some industry experts, if the percentage that answer disappointed or really disappointed is over 40%, then you've hit product market fit and you're good to go, and you're good to look at the metrics.
That is the first time I hear about a definition of product market fit by the customer feedback in that way. That's interesting. So, Ryan, Stephen, do you have anything to add on the metrics side?
For us, we are just launching our premium service for almost 2 weeks, so we're not at a stage where we have lots of data yet. But yeah, we're learning from Buffer. Actually, in Hong Kong, it's very cool because people share ideas. And yesterday, Michelle was very kind, and we had a little coffee time sharing. And she also shared with us what she did at Buffer. And in fact, more interestingly, I would say, Michelle is doing something for younger people, teaching girls how to code. So, Michelle. Or maybe you can share about it later.
For the metric, it's very simple. We look at our data every single day, no matter it's Google Analytics, Query, about the apps. We take every single by step viewpoint as a user. If I click this button, what would it do? And what's the drop-off rate at that point? And then we just call our user. Hey, why at that point do you have any crashes or problems experienced in that page, so that it make you kind of stop to place at your order, or you find it's complicated. We just keep doing that, and we find our product and make sure the process is very, very smooth. I guess the iteration we have done to improve that process is like 1,000 times. So that's the metrics that we are looking at.
That sounds like a lot of hard work. So, so since Ryan mentioned, I think Michelle, do you want to take maybe like a 20 seconds to introduce about your another effort? Yeah.
Yeah, it's an initiative that I brought back from the States, where I really see, as a local born and raised person, I really wish someone had told me about, programming as a young person, and so back in July we launched an event and with Google sponsorship and a one-day workshop to teach girls how to make apps. And so we're just continuing on that effort on the weekends and building on helping young children make their own apps and learn how to code.
Anyone got questions?
Sorry, I would like to ask Michelle a question. After I heard about your solution, I think it's very interesting. But is it only focused on the B2C business, or you also focus on B2B business?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. So earlier this month we had a company retreat, and basically we were talking about that as well. So in the first 2.5 years, the company has always been a consumer app and very consumer driven, and we push a lot onto building the audience to power users, bloggers to use our app. And what we found is that we've kind of hit that point where we still have a lot of people to sign up on our basic paid plan, but most of our revenue growth is driven by businesses. So in August, we launched a business plan, and it's quickly grown to 15% of our revenue last month. And so our focus as a company right now is more driven to serve businesses or even in agencies that manage social media accounts.
So, Hagen.
Actually, it's a story. No, it's a question for Ryan. Yep. You work in the legal, business before, right? And then I think lawyers earn quite a bit. How is it very difficult for you to decide to, come out and, start your own business?
In fact, I didn't quit my job because of Perpetu, but I did leave my job as a lawyer. But I think once you left that circle, you're kind of, you jump into this pool of startups and you can never go back to the old life because you find it so exciting, and I'm learning new stuff every day, meeting new people. I don't know if I'll be, go back to the legal side in the future, but for now, I think what the experience I had as a lawyer has helped me build a business as well. Yeah.
So, any other questions, especially for anyone else?
I'd like to ask more questions because it's a very good opportunity to me to learn from you guys. And I would like to ask a question about for the co-founder of WYND. And I want to know that, do you have any plan to expand your business to other countries besides Hong Kong? Because Hong Kong market is quite small, I think. So have you got any plan or any vision to expand your business to other countries?
Well, the first answer is a business secret, but I'm going to tell you, okay? So in terms of international expansion, at the beginning of my project, it was a project. We didn't think about it because we found a problem, we want to solve it, that's it. We think it's a business that can sustain 3 co-founders, and we proved that it can. And then recently, when we closed our angel round, the investor asked, okay, what's your international expansion plan? I was like, international, Hong Kong is an international city, it's international, right? But he said, no, how about Asia? How about the state? You study in California. Have you ever thought about to go back to California to do business there? I was like, hell yeah, I love to be there. But the thing is to be focused, just like Steve Jobs said, laser focused to build the product. So we are very focused on building the product to solve 100% of the problems locally in Hong Kong. Later on, we are planning to have some initiative to test the market in other Asia cities. But before we set the offers there, and then try to find out what we can prove, what we can solve there, we need to do a lot of research. We need to talk to the users at that country, at that target audience. Then at that time, after we talk to them, they said, yes, you are solving my problem, then we will think about it.
Right, so any last questions? We have 3 minutes left. Last questions? Now, if not, I would like to, maybe can each of you maybe can each of you use 16 seconds to tell tips that you want to tell other startup feelers. Can you?
Okay. Basically, I have a question, actually. I want to join that course. Yeah, for the programming. Okay. So, okay, tips for startup. Okay, one single tip I think is most important to save time. Okay, when you grow, eventually you don't have time. You don't have time to do many things, but you have to find some time to save. Or someone said, we want to create time. How do we create time? That is the most important question in my startup right now.
For me, this is the greatest tip you ever have. I'm just kidding. I learned a very, very big lesson. Is in Hong Kong, our culture taught us not to be in startups, not to be in entrepreneur, because our culture, our friends, our parents, our relatives will tell you that's not going to work. Just get a job. You are graduate from a good university, get a job, get a good salary, then you are good to go. But the society proves to you that you are not good to go. You cannot even buy a house. You cannot raise your family. That's the reality. But don't listen to them. It's your hand, your own ability, your own time to prove to the others they are wrong. If it's a good idea, they have started it themselves. They have already done it. Someone already done it. So that's why they don't tell you that's a good idea. They just tell you it's stupid. Just don't do it. Don't listen to anybody. Listen to your hand. But when you have an idea, do it. Just not talk about it. Talk about it is easy, but do it is very, very, very difficult.
It's really hard to top that. Yeah, I guess my one is a little bit more tactical. I guess for startups that have gone for a while and hit the product market fit, I think really start looking at the data, and there's a lot of stuff that the data is telling you and about the users as well.
For me, it would be to really understand yourself, to know where your strengths and weaknesses are. For me, because I come from a legal background, I don't know much about business. So I knew I had to learn. So I had to talk to people, learn from people. And I think that really helped grow the business.
Okay, so I think that's concluded. Thanks everyone, and okay, and enjoy the night. Oh.
We'll have our lucky draw, the last agenda.